Alright, so we're here with Michael Keck. Michael's bodybuilder, powerlifter, it's all kinds of stuff. So, Michael, could you give us a little background of your training competition history?
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on here, Chad. I really got into weight training at a real early age, mainly because of football, and it really transformed my life. There's a long backstory there that I won't get into, but through football, got introduced to strength training, really excelled at it, at least for my spot in the world. Was fortunate enough to be offered a scholarship to play college football. I was an outside linebacker at Western Kentucky University. Unfortunately, my sophomore year, I was really battling sciatica, which is a low back, hip impingement nerve syndrome, and I was forced to give up football. But I still had that competitive desire and was really fond of strength training. So I started pushing the envelope there and really trying to soak up all I can. And like a lot of guys, bought into a lot of the misinformation out there. A lot of the glossy magazines led me astray for a while, but I can say it was a good experience because I found out quickly what didn't work for me. As far as competitions go, I've been an NPC, competitive bodybuilder, and more recently switched to powerlifting as my focus, which I'm enjoying thoroughly. The last competition I did was the Lexan Extreme meet in February of 2010. Competed as a 242 raw and totaled 1630 with lifts of 550, 475, and 605. Up to that point, primarily in powerlifting, I had followed the conjugate method, or what most people would be familiar with, West Side type training. I can't say I trained West Side because I never trained there, but it was along those principles. And more recently, for the upcoming meet, the SPF Power Station Pro-Am, which is tomorrow, I'll be competing. I changed my training style to training plans influenced by Sheiko, Russian powerlifting coach.
Could you give us, I'm sure a lot of people watching aren't familiar with what Sheiko entails, like they are with what Westside or 5 through 1 entails or anything like that, or the Juggernaut method, which is available at EliteFTS.com. And so could you give us just a brief overview about what makes Sheiko unique and why you chose to go that route?
Sheiko really intrigued me. It was, looking at it, it was something completely different from the conjugate method. For most of my life, I'd been told I always had to work up to 90% or more time after time. And with Sheiko, most of the work falls in the 70 to 80% range, at least for the templates that I'm using. Once you get to the more advanced templates, which by total I technically qualify for, but this style of training was so high volume compared to what I was used to, I decided to start with some of the beginner templates, and I'm really glad I did because they initially beat me up pretty good. And I was using a lot of ice baths and Epsom salt baths and foam rolling, everything I could to recover. But it intrigued me because there was no maxing out or no 90% work or certainly very little, and a lot of volume and practice and technique work. And I was intrigued because that kind of flew in the face of what I previously thought was the gospel. So I decided to give it a go, and the sessions are long. They're 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours if you decide to do all the accessory work. And like I said earlier, most of the work is done for multiple sets, lower reps, usually 3 reps or less, in the 75 to 80% range. So my conditioning greatly improved. I have gotten stronger through this 16-week cycle. I'll be competing as a 220 tomorrow, down from the 242 class from last competition, and I expect my squat and deadlift to be better. My bench is down some because of the weight loss, but I'm opening up with 535 at least planned on squat, 380 bench, and 550 deadlift, with goals of 600 plus, 430 to 440, and 625 to 630 on the deadlift.
So certainly for you coming down from 242s to 220s, diet had to play a huge role there. I know you follow modified warrior diet. Could you kind of touch on what that means, and tell us about your upcoming product regarding that?
Absolutely. The modified warrior diet is it's a system, a nutritional strategy that some partners and I have been working on since around November of 2009, and it's based off the original work, The Warrior Diet by Ori Hofmeckler. Essentially, it's a period of under-eating through the day and then overfeeding at night. Now, Ori's original work, he was more concerned with a relatively lean, athletic, warrior-type physique as the Greeks or Romans had in those times. What we came to find out through a little trial and error is that there were no macronutrient guidelines, no calorie level guidelines. It was all eat by feel. For somebody like Chad or myself that has a huge appetite, that can be a problem if you're trying to stay within a range of weight. The overeating period, just too easy to take in too many calories. Same goes for someone undereating. Somebody with a small appetite may not be able to eat enough during the overfeeding period. And especially for physique or strength athletes or power sports, track and field athletes, there needed to be more structure to the plan. And that's what we really started tweaking and playing with, and found the diet to be very successful, either for body fat reduction, for gaining muscle, or for doing both at the same time, albeit at a slower rate of each. I actually used the modified warrior diet approach for the Lexan meet, and I have used it ever since 2009, all the way up through preparation for this meet, in conjunction with the Sheiko training, which is very, very high volume, very demanding. But getting back to the structure of the diet, I've got an article up on EliteFTS.com that spells out the diet, gives basic templates and guidelines, so you can check that out there. I'm also going to be releasing a ebook here in the next few weeks, hopefully, as far as if we can get it through the editor and the graphics guy quickly enough.
And I know you travel a lot for your job. Certainly a lot of the people watching this video probably are in the same situation. You just kind of talk about challenges you face with that, from staying consistent with your diet and training, and how you found solutions.
Absolutely. One of the beauties of the modified warrior diet is the structure of it, and the under-eating period during the day. It's very, very simple. You've got 2 or 3 meals, depending on your body size and goals, where it's as simple as a scoop of whey and a couple almonds or a tablespoon of olive oil, something you can knock out in a minute or two, or something very portable, which works well with a busy business travel schedule, or somebody that has kids and has to run them here, there, and everywhere, or somebody that may have a factory job or a hard labor job that they can't stop and eat a meal, a small meal every 2 or 3 hours. It's just not practical or doable unless you're one of the upper echelon competitive athletes. It's not realistic for most people. So the modified warrior diet makes that much simpler. Undereat during the day. Once you're off work or post-training, you consume the bulk of your calories, and that fits wonderful into a busy lifestyle.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Michael. Everyone go EliteFTS.com, check out his training log, read his articles, ask him questions, and good luck tomorrow at the meet.
Thank you. Likewise.